Hello, this is SimplyExploVenturing coming to you from historic Rockford here in Lancaster. It's located right here in Lancaster County Central Park, and we are here as part of the celebration of Lafayette coming here 200 years ago. So it's early yet, so a lot of stuff is still being set up, and the general won't be arriving till like 11 a.m. The events kick off at 10 a.m. and continue till 4 p.m. But I believe he's leaving at around 1:45, 2 o'clock-ish for other events as well. So won't you join me and let's see what this part of the event has to offer. So this is historic Rockford. This was the home of Edward Hand, who I believe served under General Washington, and General Washington also stayed here in this home when he visited here several times right after he left the presidency. So right here we have what's known as a tenant's house. So obviously, you know, they would rent the land in this home. And this one was originally located in Ronks, PA. It was moved here in the 1960s and serves as an example of a typical tenant farmer's house that would have housed seasonal agricultural workers or tenant farmers at the historic Rockford during the time of the residency of General Edward Hand and his family. So we have stone house history here setting up still. So normally when you do the tours here, they'd only allow you to take photographs. They don't allow you to film, so I'm not sure if that's gonna apply today as well. So there's a possibility you may not be able to film inside. But here's the gardens. Wow, they look really nice with actually stuff in growing plants. Let's see. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of reenactors around here. So over there we have a tent. Oh, but before I do, let me head back out. I want to show you something that's neat. Like I said, I've done the actual house tour before. Like I said, I'm not sure if they're gonna allow any filming today as well. I know normally when you do the paid tour, they don't allow any kind of filming. You can take as many pictures as you want, but what I want to show you is this. So this is a recreation of I'll give you more information over here. This is a print of what the original would have looked like. So this is a life-size reproduction of the original triumphant arch that was erected by the patriotic citizens of West King Street in Lancaster City in honor of the arrival of General Lafayette, who visited this town on July 27, 1825. This drawing depicts one of 4 arches that were erected on each street surrounding the center block of Lancaster City. We celebrate the dedicated, historic Rockford volunteers who spent countless hours working on this historic recreation. So let's walk through the gate. As you can see, someone's setting up over there. We'll check that out later. So here's the first Pennsylvania set up. I believe they were yesterday, as part of yesterday's events, over at Lafayette Tower Park as well. They were the muster troops that were out there. Some of them are, not all of them. There seems to be a lot more today too as well. So I did a video in here about these types of barns. So they have tables and chairs set up. I'm not sure if they're having some type of a dinner later this afternoon or something for the honored guests. So this is the fife.
We are ready.
So the music you heard in the background was them doing a practice run.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'll get my wife first. Okay, yeah, 10-10.
I am Adrienne de Lafayette. Enchantée. You're welcome to look at the exposition of the silhouettes, the bust of my husband, portrait of me and my husband, and our coat of arms. I will be giving a little talk. Bonjour. Bonjour.
Hello.
Bonjour.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, in the leg. Yeah, like what? Très bien. Yes, he was shot on September 11th, 1777, at the Battle of Brandywine, and so he became a hero of the revolution, and he became like an adopted son to George Washington. In fact, we named our only son George Washington Lafayette. And after the American Revolution, he came back to France. We had 4 children, but sadly my oldest daughter died when she was not even 2. So, but he came back to France, and then he was involved in the French Revolution because the French people wanted to have a government like America, to have republican institutions surrounding the monarch. And that is what my husband tried to do. Unfortunately, things went very badly during the French Revolution. I ended up in prison. My husband ended up in prison.
Where were you in prison?
I was imprisoned in France, and he was imprisoned in the Austrian Empire. And so when I was finally freed, and that's thanks to the American minister to France, which was James Monroe, who later became the president, who invited Gilbert Sultan here in 1824, I went to Austria with my 2 daughters, having sent my son, George Washington, here to his godfather, George Washington. And he requested to stay with my husband in his dungeon. So we stayed 2 years in the dungeon with him. He was very sick. He was emaciated, that means very, very skinny. And he, I think, was going to die. But then I came there with my 2 daughters, and we nursed him back to health. And because of this, he was able to return here to America in 1824. I sadly was not ever able to come to America while I was alive. I died in 1807 at the age of 48. And Gilbert never remarried. He kept my bedchamber exactly as it was the day that I died. And he would come through a secret door to visit me and tell me all the things that were happening in his life. So if you're interested, there is a book about our lives together here for young people, so they can get to know Lafayette. So if you're interested, just let me know. Do you have any questions?
Any questions, guys? Can they take a picture with you?
Bien sûr.
Walk slow, take your time.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to go up that hill. I'll take the steps. Boy, that makes a difference in the shade.
It does. That's why I'm going to stay mostly under here. Standing by that fire is just not going to be good for me. But I need to go by the fire to do some dyeing.
Oh, okay.
That's my expertise here today.
Ah.
And for pickling, such as cucumbers.
And it doesn't burn.
They used whatever
they can find to support the plants. Some are made into teepees and trellises and fences. So it's usually sticks that we use. And on the perimeter where we grow the herbs, some of the herbs are used medicinally, some are used for culinary purposes to season other food, and some are used to create dyes for they do try to save seeds and for planting for the following year, and then they also save vegetables by picking.
So would this be considered a 4-square garden?
Yes, a 4-square garden. And you are welcome to go in.
Yeah. So they're growing tomatoes. So they got carrots already in the ground, but they're not growing yet. They got some basil, some kale. See if there's anything else. Cabbage, yep. Different type of wild ginger, native, celandine, sweet woodruff, valerian, lady's mantle, real great. They're still growing. Marigolds. Oh, these are neat. So this is Good King Henry. Phlox. Joe Pieweed over there in the corner. Black-eyed Susans, I guess. See what's on this side. We got basil, pepper, and this artichoke. Okay. Calendula. So there's the back side of the house. So we're gonna head into the tenant house. Oh, wow. Hello.
hot day.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
It's really good.
That one, like I said, I had to specifically just because that's where I found different things in. One, I had to have my husband. No, it's still waiting.
Well, I wasn't at start, but I'm waiting on something else.
Storage full.
When you look at the lot shape, this part here is flat. This has a slight curve. There's a curve in here, there's no curve in here. Okay. And then this has this kind of decorative mark in there, which this doesn't have.
Okay. Does one have advantage over another?
No, the curve is just for aesthetics.
Okay.
Yeah.
So were there lock makers who did just these?
Yes.
And then you,
especially in Europe, right? So one great thing about one thing to keep in mind is that the gun makers are businessmen. They want to get things done as profitably as possible. Locks are small, easy to ship, but they take a lot of handwork to make. So in Europe, there's a large population, so labor's cheap. Over here, labor is more expensive, but we've got a lot of better raw materials. So they would have a cottage industry where like one person would make a sear, one person would make a frizzen, someone else would make a lock plate, and then they'd have lock makers who would put them all together and get them to work. And they have people who are specialists in springs, and I've done a little bit of work on springs. It is a pain to make springs. It is a pain to get them tempered correctly. I don't know how many springs I've broken, but it's quite a few.
I have an ancestor from Scotland who was a gagsmith, and he used to make really elaborate ones for like royalty. And if you go to the castle in Edinburgh, there's one of his on display there.
Fantastic. I would love to go to Edinburgh.
Yeah, I've been there. It's an awesome city. We were there, unfortunately, I didn't get to the castle because we were there the day that Queen Elizabeth died. And they closed streets and everything was good. We did see the funeral procession. Can I take a photograph?
Sure.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Enjoy your day. Hi.
How you doing? Making powder horns. Huh?
Yeah, well, anything that pretty much exists in plastic could have been made years ago in horn. People used horn because it can very malleable. So you can take a horn and you can cut it, you can put it in a press, make it hot, put it in a press and flatten it, and then cut things out of it, like loose it, or you put it in a mold. There's a spoon you can, once it's heated to 340 degrees, it gets malleable. So you can press it just like plastic gets. And, horn cups,
Interesting. Yeah.
pill boxes, and of course powder horns.
It's neat. I didn't know they can make other things besides
Oh yeah, lots of
with
things.
the horn.
Yeah, oh yeah, a lot of things. Like this is a pill box.
Oh,
So it takes a lot of work to get to that point.
yeah, I'm sure.
It's
That looks like a lot of
yeah,
work.
but you can do it. I mean, and people did it. People use those in every day. So yeah.
It's amazing. So would that be considered scrimshaw?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is scrimshaw.
You'd be scrimming a horn.
Yeah.
They did it pretty much with just using the tip of a knife. You know, you could use the tip of a knife into it, or sometimes with a nail, something sharp, anything sharp. You know, it takes a while to get used to doing this, so you don't scratch too much elsewhere, but it can be done. And then you just put ink on it and then rub it off, and the ink will stay in the rub.
Outline of the parts. So to cut those out,
Okay. Pretty interesting.
Yeah. You do a lot of things like this one here. This is a York County horn. It's a reproduction of a York County horn. So that's actually threaded. That.
Oh wow!
It's threaded, and then that's a bone. So that's
Really decorative. They
or antler. I'm sorry. That's
things like that in there. I have an example of patch material.
pretty much.
So how would have they known how much like powder to put into the rifle?
To some extent it's trial and error. You figure it out to the day of, but yeah. And it's different based on caliber, so the higher the caliber,
The more powder needed.
So yeah, and also distance. I mean, you got to figure out what your distance is. And it's when you get a rifle, you've got to figure out yourself what works at what distance, and then you pretty much get into a groove. Like I pretty much shoot with 55 grain. And if I was going to shoot longer distances, I'd probably go at 65 or 70, but I just sort of play it by ear with that.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. And you'd measure the powder.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I was.
Powder measure, yeah.
Okay, that's what I was getting at.
Yeah, that's a powder. That's 50.
Okay. Okay, so this is a 50.
50 grain.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and people have different sizes. But once you get into the groove, it's pretty much you're going to be using 1 or 2 sets of grains. And then it's like if I was using this and I had to do something at 70, I'd probably do a 50 and then maybe guess the rack, be close enough.
Or make one for 70,
Or
right?
make one for 72. One for 70, you can estimate, half of that or whatever, and then you get 70, 75.
Okay.
So,
Makes sense.
yeah. Well, when they made guns years ago too, they didn't make them based on. They made them based on size, but they didn't really get as exact the same as the caliber. They would make the barrel, and they'd work it, and then at the end they'd make the ball to fit the barrel. So it would be about a 50, but if it wasn't exactly a 50, it would be custom. Your ball would be custom to your barrel.
Okay.
So you'd make a mold to fit that. You'd actually take clay and form it into a ball until you get to about the right size, and then it'll give you an idea what size mold to make, and then you
Neat. I didn't know that either.
That was a downfall. One of the downfalls of long rifles, because if you had 20 guys,
You got a martial arts shirt.
not everything is interchangeable.
I do taekwondo.
Taekwondo? Okay. I do too. My black belt's in Taekwondo.
Thank you so much for the information.
You're welcome.
Hello.
I've got one in progress. Fortunately,
Let me see if I can catch you. If I see you later, are you going to be around?
a little while, one that's in progress. I brought this one because it's an example of a Lancaster County rifle. All of these guns were handmade in the 18th century, so all the areas had their own specialties depending on their gunsmiths. And some of the things that I will tell you is from Lancaster is this daisy at the top of the patch box. Okay. It's got this curly Q here, the shape of the stock, the trigger guard, all give you clues that this rifle was made in Lancaster. So even if the gunsmith didn't sign it, and a lot of the guns weren't signed, you could tell where it was made and often who made it. So this particular one is a copy of a rifle made by Jacob Dicker, who worked in Lancaster somewhere around 1800.
In the northern end of the county, or
No, in the town itself.
Okay.
Sure. I'll just turn that over for you. Thank you.
Is that Tiger Maple?
Yes, it is. Yeah, that's what the original gunsmiths used, so that's what we use today.
So how long would that take you to make?
Well, that would depend on how elaborate the rifle is. I could probably put a plain rifle together in 70 hours, but one with carving and engraving could be 200, not counting all the time I spend talking. And I think half of the time I spend is like drawing designs and correcting them. So
The barrel, who would make it? Would you make the barrel then?
gunsmiths, for the most part, at this point, were not making their own barrels. They could, and they did early on. But by let's say the third quarter of the 18th century, you have a lot of boring mills in the area because there's a lot of iron, there's a lot of water power available. So to save manual labor, they would have boring mills smooth out the barrel. Rifling was probably put on in the gunsmith shop. And for people who don't know what rifling is, I actually have a piece of rifle barrel for people who want to pass it around. So you can see those grooves cut in there.
inside of the grooving.
The other thing is,
Sure.
Is this a Lefevre rifle?
No, it's not. This is a Haga rifle, so he would have worked in Reading. This is Dickard.
Okay. Because the Lefevres from Lancaster County were early guns.
Yes, yeah, there were a lot of early gunsmiths in Lancaster. I think he was down a little bit further south, like in the Lampeter area.
Yeah, Paradise.
Paradise, yes.
They founded that area.
Yes.
I'm a descendant of them. I just wanted to
Fantastic.
Lefevre rifle.
Okay. No, I love when descendants of the gunsmiths come up, but yes, I've heard of them very definitely.
The rifling inside of it.
Yeah, this is just piled down, so maybe
look inside that.
rough over there.
I need to start to move. I'm getting bitten.
Yeah, but one thing I want to say, for the people who look at that, remember in the 18th century, they don't have
You can
machines
see
doing
the
all that
spiraling
work. Those screws
inside.
were cut in by hand.
Wow.
That's what turns.
Did they have a machine?
They had a machine, yes.
Did the
And it would drag a tiny cutter through there. The cutter was on a long rod, and the rod was attached to a cylinder that had the imprint on the rifling on the outside. But I've seen it done by hand. I've actually had a chance to do a little bit of this. It takes 6,000 passes with that cutter to put those grooves in to 12 thousandths of an inch.
wow? That's amazing.
That's a supply tent that has some things that were invented by Dr. Franklin that he never put forth.
actually, this is the size of the tent that we use, up to 4 to 5 men.
I was going to say, how many
And they sleep this way. So if people were sleeping in the back, and we had to get out, you had to step over the other.
Oh wow, they have coins from back in those times as well. And there's a map here.
Yeah, if we were lucky, we would carry that.
It's the King's something. Troops. Wow.
Got a pound
Video
of
death, first Pennsylvania rifle.
a pound of beef and a pound of flour a day. We were paid $10 a year. Yep. And the food supply was often very sketchy, so there were times we went without food for 3 or 4 days. And you see, this is a basic, we were riflemen, we were the frontiersmen, we were called in from the frontiers of Pennsylvania, Virginia, Maryland. And this was the basic attire that we wore at the time. And we are known as the riflemen and the long rifles because of this particular rifle, which was developed and styled in Pennsylvania and then went through Virginia into Kentucky. And this was the reason we were called in, is because that we were very effective at long range shooting. We could shoot and hit a target up to 300 yards at that time. And that was attributed to the length of the barrel and the fact that the barrel has grooves in it. These are spiral grooves, and it takes a round lead ball like a marble that would be put in, and that would give the ball, make it more accurate and spin more truer, so therefore that's why we can hit a target at a longer distance. The British were primarily fighting with a musket, which was a smooth bore. It had no rifling in it, and it didn't really have sights on it. They would just aim, point and pull the trigger. The advantage the British had over us was that they could load that musket 3 times faster, and 3 rounds in a minute and a half, where it took us a minute and a half for 1 round. So they had advantage. They could put more lead downfield, but they could only shoot with any type of effect between 50 and 75 yards.
Is a musket just one ball or what?
One ball. One ball.
There were times that they would double the barrel.
Yeah.
Just to put more lead, but you had to be at closer range.
I made it.
With the double charge, you can blow the gun.
I danced
But
with
the other thing that they had that we couldn't put on these rifles
and I just
was the
danced
bayonet.
first this morning, and I don't dance again this
spike,
afternoon.
like a sword
Next,
that
there
would
are
mount on
dances
the
going
front
on right
of the
now. There's so
barrel.
many
You can't
sets
put
going, and then there'll be a break.
So the
On the
British
side of the
tactic
porch
would
that's
be
facing you.
fire in rows, fire.
And they
and
have
then
seat.
When they
Oh, yeah.
when they
So you
marched
might be
5
able
or
to
10
catch
yards
it.
close enough, when they got close enough, they put the bayonet on and then do a bayonet shot. Well, we couldn't fight them because we didn't have bayonets, so we more or less have to retreat. The only thing we had to battle them in the bayonet charge was tomahawk, where we could block bayonet thrusts. So we were at a disadvantage in close quarters. But Washington called us in because we could pick off officers, you know, at a long distance. And the British didn't like that at all. In fact, in London, they called us the white-shirted devils because we shot officers.
Not fighting fair.
Yeah, they thought that was, you know, terrible.
Up by gold.
This is colonial script, is that what they're...
Yeah, yeah, more or less, yep.
That we received at the Battle of Monmouth from the paymaster.
Now, was this what was... Didn't Hamilton make good these... When...
Some.
Yeah, yeah.
When they had the currency to back it.
Yeah.
So it was more like an IOU?
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
because you had to have, by far and away, more paper currency
than coin
to equate to.
Especially with each state having different currencies as well, too, in banking systems.
When we signed up, we were signed up and we were supposed to be paid $10
You can
a year.
handle them all.
Okay.
Just keep them in here so that they don't blow away if we get a gust of wind.
Gotcha.
That's all. It takes a while to find the things to go into a kit, like the map.
See, we became regular army, where the militias were state controlled, and they could leave anytime they want. They could come and go as they please. We couldn't, because we signed up initially for 1 year for $10 a year. Then it went to 2, and then it went to 3. So we were actually, you know,
and you also had to hope that county treasurers,
in fact, many times
were able to
Washington
keep
didn't know how many men he'd have for a battle.
Because in Bucks County, the
during the
Dowens,
night
were
or in the day before, he could lose 300 or 400 men because they were militias,
county
and they decided to go home because they had crops to bring in. Because many of the militiamen were local farmers and, you know, businessmen, and they had to go home to take care of their families and bring in their crops.
The rest of the family fled to Canada. Just telling them about the Dowens.
Oh,
the Dowens used to hang out in the tavern.
So I can look it up.
D-O-A-N-N-S.
Dongan.
Yeah, the Dongang in Bucks County. Yeah, that's right near us. They hid in the caves and they raised havoc. They raided the taverns and, you know, and robbed on the highways. They were
doing archaeological dig on one farm, and it's hush-hush as to the exact location because they think they might be onto something, you know, and they want to keep, in essence, modern-day tomb raiders out of there.
Yeah.
Didn't they say that the FBI wasn't involved or something like that?
I'm sure that the government will try to horn in.
Yeah.
You know.
Get their cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
it's on private dirt.
They said they didn't find nothing, though.
Yeah,
apparently.
Well. Yeah, there's money out there somewhere.
This dignitaries, the wrongs of people, met him when he was entering the city of Lancaster. In fact, the number is estimated at 10,000 people. And our planning committee has been working over the past 4 years to plan an event that you would enjoy, but that was also historically accurate. Lafayette did not visit historic Rockport. So you might ask, Kathleen, why are we having Lafayette Day out here? Well, the answer to that question is that Lafayette did, in fact, visit Edward Hand's daughter. Edward was no longer alive at that point, and he took time to go into Lancaster and visit Edward Hand's daughter. So we thought, what better idea would it be to move all of this out here to historic Rockport? We have 3 days of exciting commemoration planned. And if you're interested in the history, we put together a commemorative book, 4 years in the making, that outlines his journey through Lancaster County, his life, and also his legacy. We thank you so much for coming today. Have a gorgeous day, and in just a moment, we will be welcoming Lafayette right here to historic Rockport. Thank you so much for coming.
While we wait the Marquis de Lafayette's arrival, please enjoy a performance from the New Jersey Fifes and Drums.
Good, how are you?
Yankee Doodle!
Missed it again.
Oh, and there goes the drone. I hope you didn't shoot him down.
Let them shoot down the drone.
Yeah.
Color guard! Route step! March! I don't know, but I've been told. I don't know, but I've been told. Lafayette was mighty bold. And now fighting underway. And now fighting underway. Take that boy for another day. Let that trophy take and take.
No, that's Bob. He was over there, but not sure where he's. I wish. There's Bob.
Hey, Bob, I know Bob.
Yeah.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Lafayette's coming!
Nice.
Little Lafayette's here! Woo!
Well, that breeze feels good.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Stand under there trying to get a
I
nice
know.
breeze.
How you doing, Bobby?
Yeah, how are you, man?
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
I didn't know you
You know this guy?
Yeah. Oh my God. We all kind of know each other. It's so funny.
Circle.
Right, the circle.
Circle photographers.
Yeah. Are you still out there in Ephrata? Is it Gardens?
Meadow Valley.
Meadow Valley?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah.
You've been there a while, right?
About 7 years.
Yes. Yeah. All right. I guess this is it.
Missed it again.
We should keep announcing.
Well, yesterday they shot right before he pulled up. Remember that?
I wonder how many people are
That white chin.
Here he comes.
Here we go.
amazing.
Whoops. That's a fall. I grew up in Gap.
Alright, stand clear. Clear the way. Wake up. Walk on.
Monsieur.
Welcome, General.
Thank you, monsieur.
Right this way.
Thank you.
Air Lightner is waiting for you at the podium.
Shoulder.
Corner lock.
American anthem, Hail Columbia, featuring soprano Sophie.
Or feel a more genuine attachment to this friend of America than the citizens of Lancaster. We have been taught from our infancy to respect and venerate the heroes of the Revolution. Most have gone hence to be here no more. Gratitude has taught us to revere the memory of our countrymen who were roused to arms by foreign oppression. They fought for liberty. They bled to rescue themselves and their country. But in the brave and generous Lafayette, we behold a disinterested friend to freedom's cause. Whilst our country was distracted with domestic war, yours, sir, was enjoying sweet repose. Whilst our fathers were oppressed with tyrannical rule, you were surrounded by affluence and honors. You might easily have remained far distant from the scene of battle, but the love of liberty in your heart could not resist the appeal of an injured and innocent people struggling for freedom. A voluntary exile from your native land, you became a citizen of our infant republic, and with our beloved Washington and his compatriots, conducted America to glorious independence. The whole United States and the people of Lancaster venerate the name Lafayette. Your deeds have called forth the heartfelt welcome of millions across our nation. They have endeared you to our country and emblazoned your memory in our hearts. These, sir, are the sentiments not only of myself, but of the good citizens of Lancaster, whom I represent. And in their name, I give you a most cordial welcome among us, sir.
Monsieur le Maire, Mesdames et Messieurs, honored friends and citizens, it brings me great pleasure to be once again among the patriotic residents of Pennsylvania and of the city and county of Lancaster. I beg you please to accept the most sincere and ardent expressions of appreciation for the warm and hospitable welcome that you have shown me, for the gestures of welcome that you have erected here in my honor, from the music that you have brought to welcome me here, and for all I offer my sincerest congratulations on all of the achievements and improvements that you have made in the 40 years since I last visited this continent, improvements which are the surest proof of the superiority of this form of government and of its institutions. My own obligations to the United States far outweigh any merit that I might possibly claim. They date from a time when I had the good fortune to be adopted as a young soldier, a favored son of your country. They have been continued to me over many decades of affections and confidence, and now, thanks to the most gracious invitation of President Monroe, my comrade in arms who fought with me at Brandywine, I have been greeted here by a series of welcomes, any one of which would be more than enough to compensate for all of the exertions of a lifetime of service. I have grasped the hands on these very grounds of men alongside whom I fought, and remembered the presence of those who fought with us and fell on those battlefields those years ago, and been reminded with vivacity of the moments in which we shared the same dangers and fatigues. The approbation of the American people for my conduct during our revolution and during the vicissitudes of the European Revolution which followed are for me the highest honor I could ever hope to achieve. Well may I stand firm and proud when in your names I can be said to have remained ever faithful to those American principles of liberty, equality, true social order, my devotion to which, as it has been since my earliest youth, so shall it continue to be until my latest breath. Mesdames et Messieurs, Monsieur le Maire, I thank you once again from the bottom of my profoundly touched heart. Merci beaucoup.
Good citizens of Lancaster, the General will now be reviewing the encampment. You are enjoined to enjoy the festivities today. Tour the house, the barn, the settlers, and enjoy yourselves on this wonderful day of celebration. Thank you so much.
Make ready. Take aim. Fire. Order fire.
Hey, we meet again.
Yeah. Well, welcome. Thank you for traveling all this way just to see me. It touches my heart, and it touches my heart as well to see the patriotism continue to live in the next generations of this country's story. Thank you. It's a pleasure to meet you.
So because she wasn't voted, we'll go to Team Corey. All right. By what name was Marie-Joseph Paul-Yves Roche Gilbert Desmontiers de la Lafayette known among those closest to him? Reading the answer.
Gilbert.
Gilbert is correct. That's 10 points for Team Corey. All right, Team Stephanie. What was Lafayette's age when he traveled to the American colonies in order to support the cause? What age? I need an answer. No. They have to play their card. What's the answer? 21 is incorrect. We're pivoting to the other team. 19. They took no time of that at all. So that is correct. 10 more points for Team Corey. 10 points. 10 points. Yeah. Per question. I told you. It's a rough game. All right. Now that's instead of their next turn that they got that question. So we go to the next question back to Team Stephanie. After King Louis XVI forbid Lafayette from traveling across the Atlantic, how did he make his way here?
He purchased his own ship.
He purchased his own ship is absolutely correct. This guy was wealthy. 10 points for Team Stephanie. All right, this question is a little complicated. It's a bit of a trick question. It has 2 parts. So each team gets a chance to answer, and there are 2 potential answers. Where was Lafayette wounded during the Revolutionary War? Where was he wounded?
So we're going with Brandywine.
Brandywine is correct. 10 points for Team Corey. And second question. Second part of the question, where was Lafayette wounded?
Oh, because he was wounded in more than one place.
No.
Oh, where on his eye? Oh, your eyes, both could be his leg.
His leg is correct. He was wounded at the Battle of Brandywine in his leg.
Trick question.
I told you. I told you. So we got all the points going so far, Kathleen?
This is centered around the Battle of Brandywine, but I actually took it back to when he was born and all the way through. So it's not a full biography, but it's a lot, mainly what he did here to help us.
Jameson, if you would like to use the men's room, it's there. Just when you come out, wait for us.
They
Or you can
have
come in.
the
I don't need to go pee. I'd like you to go before we head home.
books of Lafayette when he was here, Lancaster.
Yeah, okay. That's fine. We're okay waiting.
Yes, yes. Lancaster history is here. Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
And a full day of event.
Huh?
A full day of event.
Yep. I was at the events yesterday too. Over there at Lafayette Park. Yeah, I'm gonna do the book signing up at Lidditz.
Oh, great. Yeah. So she said, I'll take you over. I said, okay, good. So I didn't know anything. So we come around and here's, I'm coming through the thing, you know, the arch. And I started waving people.
Sadly, I haven't visited this place, the 1719 museum now. Hans Her.
18th century where?
Rifles. Another raffle for a rifle. Pickle and pinch.
You just show it to people like, oh, it's crazy.
This is the menu of what they're serving today.
Excuse me.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
All right. Some of the things you might find over there at the Conestoga Area Historical Society. I've actually visited several times.
There's somebody out there.
And feel that jawline right
Different pelts and different skulls.
Yeah, and they don't need any
welcome to touch anything.
They got those claws, those feet in position right here.
Coyote.
Just grab and shred it.
That's how small their skulls are.
Yeah.
Wow. Thought they'd be a little bit bigger.
That is
This is a
actually
red fox. This one is introduced from Europe. They brought this over from Europe to hunt on horseback.
Okay.
This is the native gray fox here.
Nope, but it started a granulonoma.
You don't
So
see
what
them as much
happens
because they
is the
climb
body
trees.
of the turtle
Oh,
starts
okay.
to protect itself
Their
from
claws-
the foreign
their claws
object.
actually
And all that white stuff you see on there
Didn't know that.
turtle's reaction. Cells
Learned something new today.
to protect it from that.
This is a bobcat.
Isn't that fascinating?
Oh, yeah.
Where's the brain of this turtle? Oh, back in there.
Mink?
Oh, yeah.
Possum?
Well, we got to get that out to make it,
Raccoon?
so it don't smell bad.
Skunk?
Beaver.
And that is just a bald-faced hornet nest that started. If you want to see the wasp again, here, I'll get it for you because it's really fragile.
Not what I expected at all.
Yeah,
Sometimes
I want to
I heard they can be a little bit rough.
as it can.
Yeah, not the beaver.
Now that's just see how fragile it is.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
The deer's probably the roughest.
Yeah, and that's just how they're freezing out.
Why would a bald-faced hornet attack its own kind?
Well, because they're very territorial. They don't want others around them.
Like it's the County Parks and Recreation.
Send a message.
They have an
All the other
environmental
bald-faced hornets.
center where you can learn more about, there you go, environmental education. And we are currently in the park right now.
So Buchanan was a Democrat.
He was a Democrat.
At that time, and so obviously there's a lot of nuance involved, but it would be more closely aligned to the values of today's Republican Party.
Okay.
So, because yeah, Buchanan was a Democrat. He ran, I forget what the party who he ran against, but the Republicans are what come out of, Abraham Lincoln was a Republican of the Republican Party. Yeah.
I know. So what else should we say? Okay. All right.
So here's like an audio recording that's sitting in the depths of our history.
In the 21st century, the word plantation evokes images of hundreds or thousands of acres of farmland, often worked by enslaved laborers. But in the 18th century, plantation merely referred to a farm that was under cultivation, as opposed to grazing land or wooded land. It was also used colloquially to refer to a farm.
On the way now.
Hey, have fun, Lewis.
Alrighty.
After 8 long years of wartime service to his country as an officer in the Revolutionary War, beginning as the captain of the 1st Pennsylvania Rifles and ending as George Washington's second in command, now General Edward Hamilton returned to Lancaster with the intent of retiring and focusing on raising his family. He bought the land that would become known as Rock Ford in 2 separate transactions. He purchased 160 acres of land in 1785 and added another 17 acres in 1792. Documents indicate that the Hands were still living in a rented house in Lancaster when Edward Hand bought this property in 1785. Documents also show that the house was built between 1791 and 1794. It is thought the Hand family may have moved on April 1st, 1794, as this was a traditional moving day in Lancaster County. The 18th century in early America is known as the Age of American Enlightenment. During this great period of change, leading minds were influenced by revolutionary neoclassical philosophies from Europe. Neoclassicism, defined by an enthusiasm for ancient form, literature, and classical antiquity, found expression in every aspect of life, from the creation of our new nation to arts and even architecture. Rockford is an example of this confluence of ideas, built with both Georgian and federal styles. Some of the federal design elements visible on the exterior are the classical columns on the porch and the fan light above the front door, which faces the Conestoga River. While the Hand family owned this property, it was a working farm with fields, livestock, and extensive orchards. A large part of the labor on the farm came from tenant farmers. In the 18th century, land tenure practices were common. A tenant farmer and his family could work the land for a landowner in exchange for housing. This was usually a multi-year agreement. Rent was often paid for with crops, or the agreement could be to clear land, or even erect buildings. We will pass by a reconstructed tenant building at the end of the tour. The archaeological remains of a spring house and several other outbuildings are on the left, protected by the split rail fencing. Spring houses were buildings built over a spring to help with access to fresh water, free from animals and debris. Because spring houses tended to be cool, they were often constructed with ample space to store items such as milk, cheeses, or other foods that would be preserved by the cool temperatures. The spring house stood until 1792, when it was destroyed during Hurricane Agnes. It is unknown if there were any buildings on the property before the construction of Rock Ford, but the sale advertisement after General Hand's death described, quote, a tenant's house, 2 barns, one of which is large and convenient, a carriage house, smokehouse, ice house, and several other outhouses, a large, never-failing spring near the door, with a stone spring house and granary above. The Conestoga River takes its name after the Conestogas, an indigenous tribe descended from the earlier Susquehannocks. The Conestogas lived in Manor Township, approximately 10 miles southwest of Lancaster. In the early 1700s, the Conestogas used the river to trap and trade furs and pelts with early European colonists in exchange for items such as metal tools, flint, pipes, and copper. As fur trapping became more difficult over time, many left for better prospects elsewhere. By Edward Hand's arrival to Lancaster in 1775, the remaining Conestogas no longer lived in this area of Lancaster County. During the 18th century, settlers constructed mills along the Conestoga to process the massive quantities of grain produced by Lancaster County farms. By 1840, there were 37 mills along the Conestoga River alone. In the 1790s, when the Hands lived on this property, there were no bridges that spanned the Conestoga River. The city of Lancaster is to the north, just across the river. And to get to Lancaster, one had to cross where the river depth was the most shallow. It is thought that this flat, rocky area used for fording the river is the origin of the name Rock Ford. Edward Hand, like many others of his time, bought and sold enslaved African Americans. We have discovered the names of a few of them, Robert, Bet, and Sue, but the names of any others remain unknown. However, they did not move with the family to Rock Ford. On this property, tax records reveal the name of one enslaved man, Frank. Frank escaped in March of 1802, and Edward Hand placed several ads in the paper seeking his capture. From the description in these ads, we learn about his height, the clothes he was wearing, and the items he took with him. We're not sure what Frank's role was at Rockford, but we know that he dressed in the latest fashion, and he drove a carriage well. You can learn more about Frank at a special exhibit when you visit Rockford. Uphill from the river is a plaque dedicated in 2018 by the descendants of the Bushman family. The Bushmen were caretakers of General Edward Hand's former home after his death, and were some of Lancaster County's earliest members of the Church of Latter-day Saints. Many Bushmen have returned to visit historic Rockford over the years, beginning as early as 1900 to honor their ancestors. The plaque reads, quote, "In memory of Abraham and Esther Franks Bushman, and Martin and Elizabeth Bushman, and other tenant farmers and laborers whose names are now forgotten, but whose efforts contributed to the history, legacy, and beauty of what became known as Rockford Plantation." The last tenant to live at historic Rockford was Miss Loretta Shank in 1947. To your left, you will see a plaque erected in 1912 by the Lancaster County Historical Society. The plaque was memorialized during a day of celebration that included speeches, band, and a children's choir. The plaque is situated at the base of a cliff, which in 1912 was referred to as Indian Rock. It's
I'm not going to freestyle the rest because we can't go as far with the books right now. But so this is the recreation of the tenant house to your left, the White House. And then you can see kind of the plum tree. Edward Hand was on it, so he actually his own breed of plum, which the last one was seen in the late 1800s. Right there. And he ended up then passing away at 1802. What the rest of it? A little bit more. Miss Lafayette's trying to return.
So did Lafayette actually come here?
To this property?
Yeah.
I don't believe he came to this property.
Okay, I wasn't sure, like, I know they were doing, like...
Due to the city's current structure, he wasn't able to visit the exact locations that he
I wasn't sure how
He visited the father of the man who built this house.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they tried to reenact everything they possibly could.
Okay.
It's not quite entirely possible. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting.
Walk on.
Yeah, the connection was that he visited the father of the man who actually built this house.
Okay. This is the perfect place to have
So that's why they had it here, because there are the other places don't exist.
That makes sense.
If you guys want to learn more in the gallery on the top of the barn, like at least when I was here visiting for a year, and then before they had a whole thing for Lafayette. So if you want to learn about it, you can go in the gallery.
Sorry, over here. Where do we load? Over there? Okay. Over this way. Come on. Yeah, we're gonna go.
Get one hand there, and push it through.
It spools off.
There you go. Look at that. Yeah, do it again.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Nice. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? And you can, so if you're a cabinet maker, if you're a carpenter, you can make a whole bunch of these, and you can take that scrap wood and turn it into something that's going to make some money for you. And you take that to the market and sell it for a few pennies.
And make a mallet. You can make a mallet with scrap wood.
Yeah, with it, right? I guess so. Yeah.
Small pieces.
Yep.
What do you use your mallet for here? In this case, just
for this, just to.
Oh, I see.
I mean, I've tuned it up and it stayed good for hours, so I haven't really had to change it. But as long as it, you could make a bigger, thicker curl out of it. You could make a real thin one out of it, depending on what you want to make.
So
yeah,
is
you're
this
doing great.
Something that the kids would do, or the apprentice?
Yeah, it's probably not something that. Yeah, you're doing great. Go ahead, keep going as long as you want. Yeah, this and a lot. So this is.
Even though I can be home in 12 minutes, turn the key in the parking lot and be home in 12 minutes later at night. But if I can sleep at Mount Vernon, I will, because I can see, you know.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
I would be the same way, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Here's the latrine. Is that the latrine?
What?
Is that the latrine? Is that the latrine?
No. They have some things up there.
No,
I have a little porta-john for.
No, but I meant for colonial.
No, they didn't do it like that.
No, I'm just curious. What is that?
Thank you.
Yeah. They had outhouses.
Yeah. Okay.
But they had outhouses like that, but these are just plastic outhouses. You know what I'm saying? Really, it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the day, if you could have bought one that was made out of plastic like that, let's say 100 years ago or 60 years ago, or before you had indoor plumbing, you would have bought one. They probably had ones that are pre-made, you know.
Some places
they would last longer than a wooden one.
I know an Amish business that instead of having one built in, they have that service. And nowadays you get a trailer. You know, you can get a dumpster, a thing to store stuff in, and the outhouse or the porta-john comes with it.
Yeah.
So this is like an individual encampment.
Well, I was invited to last night's dinner ball. I wore my Regency period wool stuff. It's sort of, it's dark blue coat with brass buttons, but not like this. This is like 1780. But it's my uniform. Wore a gentleman's suit I made for the Battle of New Orleans 10 years ago, 1815. A lot of people have Regency era, War of 1812, like 1814, 1815 stuff because of the big thing for the bicentennial of the Battle of New Orleans, and other events we had down in there were a lot of events in Maryland for the Chesapeake campaign that in summer of 1814, culminating with Fort McHenry. You know what I'm saying? So I had that. So I wore my evening stuff, my nice wool evening stuff to that and such. But they asked me to, in order for me to be able to tent here for 3 nights, they asked me to, what can you do to interpret something in Revolutionary War? And I said, well, if it's just me, I'll do my privateer, my continental privateer, which, you know, some of the merchant ships sailed, the American merchant ships sailed under what's called letters of marque and reprisal, authorized by the Continental Congress.
And we need to use those today.
Yeah, well, you could attack British merchant ships and a Royal Navy, small Royal Navy ship if you dare. You know, you're not going to take on a third-rate 64, but you could do it, and you'd be able to keep most of the money. The captain and the owners, and even the hands would get some of it too. Everybody would get some share in some of the prize money that would be sold. So it was like even Dr. Franklin invested. So a lot of the founding fathers invested in privateers. They invested in that because it was a money-making thing that you could attack, and you know, you could get big money. couldn't make any money in the Army, in the Navy or a privateer. And I explained to people that a lot of what you would call pirates of a few generations earlier than that, like Captain Kidd and Captain Morgan, they all started off as privateers. And then somehow the war ended and they didn't find out about it. Because remember, we had the Battle of New Orleans, 1815, 3 weeks after the Treaty of Ghent had been signed in Belgium, ending the War of 1812.
Of course, no one would know that.
Yeah, so we didn't know about it.
That war, of course, was really a continuation of the Revolutionary War.
They say that, but it was,
in a way. The British,
sometimes it's called the Second War for American Independence.
But you know, they had a central bank, so England won anyway.
What's that?
They had a central bank.
Yeah.
Which is really English. So it's as if England won anyway.
Yeah.
With you know, it's the same as today. The Federal Reserve, you know, the Rothschild family is involved in that, you know?
I've heard of the Rothschilds, but yeah, I don't know about that all that financial stuff. But.
Yeah.
Or you could break things down, like, you know, and things like, you take this off real quickly, but I just, you know, for safety, you want to like a scabbard on it, because you're pretty sharp and stuff like that, you know, safety first. And then this is a nice quality cutlass. Some of the cutlasses were in bigger tubs. They had bigger tubs, were pretty gnarly looking things, but basically on that, you know, 2 iron bombs, 15-second fuses on a quick match.
Grenades, essentially.
You light it with the linstock you'd light the cannon to touch all of the cannons with. You know, our merchant ships had, you know, cannons. Then you light it, 15 seconds. You can pull out longer and get, you know, longer if you need it, or push it in a little bit more, and you hurled it when you got close. And then 2 grappling hooks, 2 small grappling hooks that if people were interested, I could like fling them in 50 feet of rope, of hemp rope, and then to grab the ship there. So it's my boarding party kit for 2. Right. And I have like my personal little sidearm as a mate, as a first mate, would be like this is a 1751 pattern hanger. They had them even earlier. And I have a couple of my personal spyglass, and then this is like the this is like the Commodore of the fleet model, but I like to display it. And it breaks down. A little rum, an alarm rattle, compass. You know, remember we were children? We had these little metal noise makers, party noise makers. It's just a child's version of an alarm rattle.
Alarm rattle?
We just call them noise makers, but the same exact principle with a little metal spring.
What's it supposed to be, to alarm somebody for something, or what?
I'm sorry?
What's it supposed to be for you?
Well, when you like did it would wake you up in the morning, or that means go to man your stations, all man your battle stations, or get, you know, ready for action. It's just like, see, instead of have to keep clear for action, you just heard it, and everybody, when they heard that, they knew exactly what they were supposed to do.
They weren't sound sleepers.
Everybody had a place to go.
They weren't sound sleepers.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I could have brought my speaking horn too, like a brass speaking horn, like a megaphone.
All right,
so,
thank you.
It's just something I have, a little rumbling. Yeah, I have my coat on with General Lafayette, my little coatee, but you know, it's like hot. Although it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be today. It's supposed to be.
So I hope you enjoyed your day here with me at historic Rockford to celebrate Lafayette Day here. And please, if you can, go to these historical places. I don't mind bringing you along and bringing you to these places, but do me a favor. Come and visit these places. They're here for you to enjoy as well. And with that, I will be heading out of here shortly. So I want to thank you again for coming along. And as always, go create your own adventure. And I'll see you at the next location.